Aging or growing old is an inevitable process as long as we are living. As one ages, many changes occur that affect each one of us differently, hence the need to taking care of your physical, mental, and cognitive health. But what do you do to ensure that you age in a healthy way so as to maintain your quality life at old age? How do we help aging parents to have less or no medical complications as they age? To help us in this discussion tonight is Dr. Sospita Gatobu, who holds a PhD in health studies and gerontology, which is the study of aging. Remember, we are live on YouTube and Facebook with this discussion at Hope TV Kenya. Remember to share this link with a friend and loved one who will benefit from tonight's discussion. You can also engage with us with your question or comment. Our SMS line is 22232. That is 22232, and our WhatsApp line is 0708 222 Good evening and welcome to Health Check. My name is Grace Mutiso. I hope you had a great week, and welcome to these editions of Health Check as we focus on aging healthy. And you know, all of us at some one point will age. Yes, we'll age. Allow me to introduce our guest this evening. Good evening, Dr.
Good evening, Grace. It's wonderful to be here again.
Most welcome. I feel like telling you Happy New Year. We met last year.
We met last year. Yeah, Happy New Year.
Yes.
Happy birthday. Yeah. Somewhere in between there.
All those.
All those ones, yes.
Karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
Allow you to just take a minute to introduce yourself, what you do, before we delve into today's discussion.
Thank you. My name is Sospita Gatobu. My interest is researching in health and education and communication and development generally. I've got quite a checkered, rather different things that I've done, but my main interest right now is in working towards enabling people to have quality lives and good health outcomes. And that's why I'm doing research in health, in aging especially, and the whole area of health literacy like we did the last time, and health numeracy, so that people are more comfortable and they kind of take their place in the health care system and be able to manage it, interact with it very meaningfully, in a way that makes them feel in control of their health and their lives. Okay. That's what I would like us to do and to focus on. And even as we get into this topic today, we are doing a research right here in Kenya on aging. And we're testing some tools or some instruments that will help people to self-assess themselves and see, I was here yesterday, I'm here today, I'm here tomorrow, what has changed? And then if you're staying with a loved one, they can also use the same checkup tool to see, yesterday it was like this, but today something has changed. Yes. Because the whole area of aging is complicated. It's not as if you can put someone in a machine and then on the other side you are able to say they have got 1, 2, 3 things. Most of them are subjective. Just like something like mental health is mostly an area that the person going through that experience does not know. So to take someone external to look and say, that person is behaving erratically. They don't know themselves. That's why when people go and remove their clothes in public, they actually are not aware they're doing it. Okay. It's the people outside who say, oops, something is not right. So even things like dementia or Alzheimer's, people in that condition do not actually know they are in that condition. It will take someone else to say, Dad is being erratic. Dad is repeating himself. Dad is forgetting things. Sometimes, because it's not really continuous, it's up and down. So sometimes you are in your mental faculties and then tomorrow you're not. Or within the same day, you forget things and remember things. And so that's why we need a tool, a very comprehensive tool that is able to check all areas, activities of daily living, communication, stressors, and all that. And this tool that we are testing here in Kenya has all that. Okay. Yes.
And that will be able to help the public know if you are aging in a healthy way,
yes,
or
yes.
you need to do something.
Yes.
So by that, let's go to the basic. What is aging in a healthy way, if there is a definition to that?
Oh, there is. I think for us to interrogate or to interact with this question, we need to answer 2 questions. What is aging and what is health?
Yes.
And aging is just those changes, the physical, our body changes that we have as we get older, as we advance in years, and the physiological, the body functions. the changes that occur in the physical and the physiological, now the functions themselves, those are the ones we call aging. So as the years go by, there are going to be changes physically, and there'll be changes internally, physiologically, in the way we do things, the functions of the body. They are going to change as we get older. And so that is aging. Now, is there something like healthy aging? Yes, there is something like healthy aging, and that is where you go through it without diseases, so to speak, which is complicated. So, but that is the thing we want to say, that you have developed and you have maintained those functional abilities that help you to function well as you get older. So that is health aging.
Okay.
But the other concept that we really need to define is health itself.
Yes.
What does it mean when you say someone is healthy? Is it absence of diseases? No, it's not. Health is not just the absence of diseases. It is your optimum state of being, right? That is not just, I'm not sick, but that optimum state of well-being, that is what health is.
Okay.
So that's a WHO definition, where they say it's not just the absence of disease. No, it is just that state of optimum, the optimum state that you are, that enables you to function well in your life in many ways.
Okay.
You're able to move around, you're able to interact with people, you're able to communicate, you're able to eat, all the activities of daily living, you can brush your teeth, all those things, and in the society, that is now what shows you that you're healthy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And are there different stages of aging? And if there are, what should one expect in those stages?
Remember, from birth, from conception actually, you start the process of aging. And so there's a level in which the cells divide, and then they reach a point up to about the 40th decade, and they kind of stop. Something happens, and it's almost flattening, and from there on, it's almost downhill, because the body cells are programmed to divide at the beginning and to do some functions and to multiply. But they also get tired, and they stop. They get weaker as they divide and so on, as years go by. And so the whole act of aging is that process where the cells, and there are many theories of aging. I'm just taking one of them, where the cells are kind of programmed to break down of tiredness, because they have divided for entire your life. 50 years down the road, they're still dividing, and all of a sudden they're weak. They can't divide anymore. So when you talk about aging, the stages are such that you've got this nice part of, you are young, you're vibrant and everything, and then you reach 40s and some body changes start taking apart. But then we reach what we call older adult. And there's nothing really, how do I put it? It's not as if it's a very scientific cutoff. 65 years old, that's older adults, that's what there is. But some other literature actually brings it all the way to 50, older adults. So from 50 to 65, older adults. It's a very political thing. It's not scientific. In the 1800s, Otto von Bismarck brought in actuarial scientist to consult with, but he had done more personal self-interest thing to get a cut-off year. So they put at 65. At that 65, he knew that, first of all, after 65, you get your pension for the workers.
Yes.
So there was motivation for people to work very hard until 65. But he also knew that because the life expectancy was not very high, by that time, most of them will have died. So they will not get their pension. So it was that how it started, the whole thing of 65 years.
Yes.
It's a very arbitrary number. But now it has gone into everything, retirement age. All over the world, 65 years old or 60 years old is a very arbitrary number. But we talk about 65 as the older adults.
Yes.
It is at that stage where the assumption is, but again, it's not really 65 and things start. They can start all the way from 40 or 50. Dementia used to be 65, 80 years old, but now it's around, I've seen people with dementia at 50.
Yes.
And all that. Diabetes used to be, especially type 2, it used to be a disease of older people. It's now down here. So there are things that happen due to age, just because the body is weaker. But again, I think we need to talk about, we talked about stages, but I can talk about what you can normally call normal aging. Normal aging is those things that happen just because of age. They are not related to diseases. Like for instance, as we age, our sight is affected because again, the cells in our eyes they get tired or they break down or something like that as we get older. Our muscles weaken. Our bones get brittle. It's not because of sickness or anything. It's just the activity of aging, and the cells go down. So sometimes we lose our balance because again of aging, and again our estimation of distances and our perception of space, how we navigate space, it also becomes affected as we get older. And so these are all the things that we call normal aging. But there is also the other form of aging that we can't really call it normal. It's kind of what I've just said, things that happen within us. But there are those things that come from outside. Things that we actually allow, like drinking, taking beer, and where we choose to live, and pollution, and things like that. Again, those also affect how we age. So there's an intrinsic part, which is basically the cells and how they're behaving. And there's that which we bring in that now interact with our cells, something called epigenetics. And how that interacts with our cells and our bodies, then aging happens that way. So we've got those two lines here.
And if you're watching us right now, welcome. You are on Health Check right here at Top TV. Look and Live. My name is Grace Mutiso, and I'm hosting Dr. Sospita Gatobu, helping us with today's discussion about healthy aging. You could be watching and, you consider yourself as aged, and you have any question to Dr. Gatobu, kindly get in touch with us. Or you have aging parents and there is a question you've always wanted to ask, to get that answer to. Our SMS line is 22232. That is 22232. You can also get to us on WhatsApp on 0708 222 323. That is 0708 222 323. We are also live on Facebook and YouTube at Top TV Kenya. Get to those pages on the comment section. Drop there your question and comment. We'll ensure that we have your question answered before we wrap up the program. So, Dr. Gatobu, I know in your area of practice as you do research, there are so many myths, and so many therapies towards helping you not age quickly.
Yes.
And my question, I'd love you to share with us what you've had and answer this question. Is there a quick fix to sorting you, not to age quickly? Like you look 60, you are 65 by age, but you look 18, okay, 30 maybe, let's say, or 40.
Well, let's first deal with one issue. Aging is there to stay. It happens. There's nothing we can do to stop aging. We can slow it, though. But aging is something that we are programmed to go through. Every living thing goes through that, the trees, the animals in the bushes, fish, everything. We have that period of life, and then we are programmed to die.
Yes.
So aging is basically something that we cannot really stop.
What do you see by slowing it?
We can slow it.
How?
Our lifestyle. We can slow it by how we live. If we are very determined, we are able to do exercise. We can eat well. Diet is a very good thing. What we drink, what we engage in, some of these dangerous things that we do, like driving very fast and things like. I'm not saying that those ones can kill you. Those ones will kill you before you age. But there are things that actually get you to age faster, like drinking and smoking.
Yeah.
Those are bad things. And the foods that we eat, lots of processed food and all that. And some of the things that we apply on ourselves also, they cause us to age faster. Some chemicals that we apply on our bodies and all that, they cause us to age faster. So if we really want to slow that one down, then we need to watch how we live, what food we eat, where the environment where we live. If we expose ourselves to very polluted environments, then our bodies react the same. Remember, what I call epigenetics is how the external, the environment reacts with our bodies and how it changes how our DNA works. And so all of a sudden you've got something that is messing around how your bodies function, and then you get older. So if we really want to, again, to go back to your question, if we want to slow this aging, then we need to watch very well our lifestyle, get into exercises, think very carefully about what we are eating, think about what we're exposing ourselves to in terms of environmental, whatever is around the environment, pollutions and pollutants and all that, and relationships, good relationships. Faith has also been known to be a good protector, so to speak, or a determinant of how we age. And so all these things that when they are put together, we are able to slow aging, but not stop it. That is the challenge we have.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. What about therapy? If you come for this therapy, it will help you not age faster. If you use this kind of product, it will help you not age faster. It will remove wrinkles, Daktari.
There are all those things, and I will not want to speak on the merit of those things. I'm sure they have whatever they do. There's Botox where people, what is it called? The Botox thing that people kind of inject so that they puff up their cheeks and all that. All those things will make you look younger. But is it actually stopping aging? They may change the physical look to make you look like you're younger, but does it actually stop the aging? The things like exercises are things that they strengthen your bones, they strengthen your muscles, and so instead of your body breaking down faster, it is slower, right? But it doesn't really change the fact that you're aging. It slows how your cells are behaving. It changes how the muscles are behaving. It changes how the metabolism is going on in your place. Drinking a lot of water, a lot of health food, walking. I know of a professor who never sat in his office at all. And he had a treadmill in his office. The computer was up there, and he'd walk as he worked.
Oh, really?
And he told me every day you'd walk for 7 kilometers as he stands there working on his computer. In his office, there was no table. There were no chairs. There's a high table like this, and that's where if you went for a meeting, you'd stand around that table and discuss. There was no sitting in his office.
Yes.
If you saw that guy, he's retired now, but I can guarantee you he was looking my age, even when he was retiring. Is he old? Of course he is. Does he look younger? Yes, he does. Because of how he decided to take care of himself, running, walking, jogging, good food, not much coffee, lots of water, and many other things that he used to do. But again, he was a professor in health, so he was living what he preaches. Yes.
So you can slow it, but
You can.
it will catch up with you.
It will. Yeah, you of course, all of us age differently. Remember, there's a genetic aspect to everything that we do and everything that we are. So there are those of us who inherited them, we can maybe call good genes, I don't know, and the longevity. There's some families that people live longer in these families. You find people who live up to 100 years. Others, whether they try it or not, they are 60, they're looking very old and they die. So there are those genetic things, which basically there's the gene bit, but also there's the whole thing of how we started this journey from conception.
Yes.
How the body of our mothers prepared us for this life. So if we are malnourished, even at birth or even before birth, those things set a trajectory of health. All right? So you're born, you're malnourished, you don't get enough nutrients. That kind of sets how you age, even years to come.
Yes.
So there are all these things. You may slow them, like we said, but there are those factors that we just need to remember we cannot control. We cannot control the genes. We cannot control the fact that in some diseases, women have more of them than men just because of their sex or gender.
Maybe we could talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are some of the diseases or conditions that both men and women have because of old age?
Okay, let's take something like Alzheimer's, which is one of the causes of dementia. It has been said that women suffer more of it than men. But the reasons for that are not very clear. It may be because women live longer. So when the men died, many of the men died earlier, the women are still alive at 80s. And so now the statistics that we have that we're working with is this group of many, many women And so we are comparing with the men, and we're saying women have a lot of Alzheimer's, something like that, or maybe just the body functions as they get older. That could also be affecting their cells in the brain, and that may be the cause of the fact that they have got more Alzheimer's than men. Okay. But for most of the other conditions, women have also been known to have more heart attacks and cardiac episodes than men. Again,
at old age.
Old age, yes. Yeah. But again, I'm not really, I can't say I've done a lot of research on that, but the real reasons for that may not be what you think, right? Could be other factors that we need to isolate. And so I think there are those differences between men and women that we cannot control. That we can control the environment, we can control our lifestyles, but there are those things that we can't control. Genetics things we can't control. We can't control gender or sex things, especially sex things. Gender we can, because it's what the society tells us we are in terms of men and women. But the sex thing is biological. And that we can't control. Can't control this is a man, this is a woman, and how the body reacts to the environment and how it grows old.
Okay.
Yes.
You've mentioned about some conditions that women get. Are there ones that are specifically for men?
Yes. Well, there's some, of course. There's some conditions like cancers, right? The breast cancer, cervical cancer, and things like that. Those are for women. Men they have prostate cancer. I think that is really one that is predominant in men, because the others like colorectal can affect either men and women, and of course the breast is for women, cervical and ovary and all that. That's for women, and so apart from that, there's nothing really that multiple of their diseases are common to men. It's just like testicular cancer is for men, and all those cancer with the private parts for the men. There'll be that are differentiated. But things like stomach cancer or other forms of cancers, maybe the vision problems and heart problems, they are almost the same for men and women. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Before we get to a quick break, remember, our dear viewer, if you have any question regarding healthy aging, you can SMS us on 22232. That is 22232. You can also WhatsApp us on 0708 222 323. That is 0708 222 323. And at Hope TV Kenya on Facebook and YouTube, we'll be getting to your comments in a short while. Dr. Gatobo, before we
I was going to add something,
yes,
Grace.
Yes.
There is a relationship it's usually very hard to isolate what we call normal aging, and where there are no disease or not. So you say this is normal aging, yes, and these are conditions that are part of normal aging. But this relationship that we have. For instance, as you age, your arteries may stiffen. And because of that stiffening, then you get cardiac problems. Right? Yeah. So now the aging is causing this. But also, cardiac problems also can lead to stiffening of arteries. So you see, isolating the normal aging issues plus the ones that are caused by diseases becomes a little bit interesting. That is a wonderful research area, because then if you're able to isolate what are those things that occur because of just normal aging, which a few of them we know them. I mean, like the sites and the walking and the mobility and the balancing. We know those ones will come. Yeah. But sometimes they either induce or they're induced by illness. But there's the whole concept of successful aging. Does it mean you cannot be successful, you cannot age successfully if you've got a condition? No. There are people who, with a condition, maybe a disability, but they're living very well. Their mental faculties are sharp, they still run their businesses and all that. So the whole thing about healthy aging or successful aging, there's a bit of it that is very subjective. Yeah. And so we need to always remember that, so that when we find a person with a condition, we are not saying that they are not successful. They are not aging successfully. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'd love us to talk about genes. You know, genes and how they contribute towards one aging. So if I saw my dad aging in a certain way, does it, or my mom, Does it mean that's how I'll age, or I need to look at it differently? And also, I'd want us now to talk about dementia, which is a key thing that affects older people as they age. But that is after this break. Keep it right here, Top TV Look and Live. Remember, our lines for your questions and comments are right at the bottom of your screen. And you can also talk to us at Top TV Kenya on Facebook and YouTube. This is Health Check. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Spotlight.
Do you feel that they are in a place where they can effect a Barack Obama moment?
When you hear the word of God and you hear Jesus is speaking.
Real talk on real issues.
You know, the Bible says faith without works is dead.
The truth of the gospel that will survive the time is not a health and wealth gospel.
When there is time to harmonize and bring one composite amendment.
With idealistic, thought-provoking guests.
So people come to be serviced, to be encouraged, to be empowered.
When the storm is over, you desire the closeness you have with God.
Hosted by Reverend Edward Furi. Hope TV is where you look and live, with an excellent selection of the best Christian programming consisting of local and international content, of inspirational stories, talk shows, Bible commentary, youth, health shows, children entertainment, contemporary gospel music, extended times of worship, live broadcast, news, movies, drama, Christian ministry programs, and so much more. Hope TV is another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries, with over 45% of authentic and credible local content every week. Hope TV is a sister station to Hope FM, Kenya's leading Christian radio station, with footprints across the country. Tune in to Hope TV, where you look and live.
Only God can turn a mess into a message.
I have a boy on a wheelchair.
Yeah.
I'm still preaching on the pulpit.
Amen.
Niliona mguu ya nyuma inakuja tu kunikanyaga, imenilenga tu kwa tumbo. Nikaitana tu, Jesus.
I got tired of working with the x-ray papers, and one day I just woke up and decided to burn them.
A test into a testimony.
The whole community didn't want to hear that anybody is born again. Excommunicated, straight.
Bila Yesu hakuna njia.
Join Sharon Naitore Wangenye on Testify.
Katika hiyo harakati hiyo spirit ikakemewa, mimi nimeona Yesu Kristo namna hii. Kwa msalaba. Opa. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Every Thursday at 8 p.m. for a moment to grow your faith some more.
Hope TV is now available on GoTV Channel 103, Zuku Channel 873, Signet Channel 817, and StarTimes Channel 026. Enjoy our uplifting content and family-friendly programming anytime. Hope TV, you look and live.
Welcome back to Health Check right here, Top TV Look and Live. My name is Grace Mutiso. I'm hosting Dr. Sospita Gatobu, helping us discuss how to age in a healthy manner. And of course, this is the hour we'll be looking at your questions and comments on 20933, on 0708 222 323, and at Top TV Kenya. Keep your questions coming via WhatsApp line and also on our SMS line and our social media pages. Before we sample a few questions that have come in, Dr. Gatobu, before we went on a break, I'd asked about genes. So should a young person, as they see their dad aging and their mom aging, compare and say, yeah, I think this is how I'll be, or we age differently?
Genes are a complicated area.
Yes.
Remember, I remember when we were in high school and we read a book, I think it was called Utengano. There was a novel, Kiswahili novel called Utengano, where the whole story is this man who got married and got a child who looked very different from him and from his family. And he kicked away the wife and the child. But this many years later, in fact, this wife got married to a worker someplace. This man was very well off, but she went and got married to a workman outside there. And then she had a child. And the child that was born would not look like the husband, had her own child who looked exactly like the grandfather. Like the grandfather. Genes are complicated in the sense that they're not as predictable as we think. So you can't stand and say, because my dad is going through that, I'm going to go through it. There's a chance that that would happen. But even in cancer, I have been told that genetics plays about only 10% of people getting cancer just because they come from the same family with cancer, because of many other things. So yes and no. Okay. Yes, you might age like your dad. Yes, you might age like your mom. And no, you might never. Okay. In fact, could be that your children or your children's children are the ones who may have that trajectory of your parents. That's I think the long short of things. Okay. The challenge that we have is how the genes interact with the environment. So you may have that bit, because we all have that gene, like it has. I think I've read somewhere that just being black, women have the gene for breast cancer. But it does not have to be activated. It depends on what you expose yourself with and how your body interacts with the environment and the things that you do by yourself. Okay. So there are many other things that we can think about. So things like diet, things like lifestyle, things like all those things. Now they're the ones that interact with your body to bring it out. Okay. So you may have the gene of your dad, but it may never come out because of the way you live. Yes.
One more, in terms of careers, allow me to say our parents, because like my parents are aged, they are retired. In terms of the career that one does that contribute towards them aging faster or slower?
Yes. Remember we talked about the environment. Remember we talked about what you expose yourself to. If, for instance, you're exposed to chemicals where you work, definitely that is going to have a toll in your body and how your body responds, and you might get older. You may age faster as far as your biology is concerned. And of course, the physiology, the functions of your body may get affected because of the way you expose yourself to. And then, and maybe you sit too much. So you get obese. Again, you can't blame anyone. I mean, that is something that you brought yourself to. So your work, the environment, the lifestyle, all those things come to how you age. That's what you said earlier. We said there's the intrinsic part where we have no control. Yes. The cells have to divide anyway. They have to multiply. And at a certain time, they stop or they slow down the functions. And then again, life goes down. But there are those things that you choose by yourself, the extrinsic factors that you actually choose. Maybe not even consciously, maybe subconsciously. You decide, you start drinking alcohol, you start smoking. You are employed in a place where you sit throughout. You don't do exercises and all that. Those are now the extrinsic things that affect how you age. Okay. Yes.
Last, before we talk about dementia, to tackle a few questions that have come in. Our viewer is called Anita. Hi, Anita. Thank you for watching Health Check. Says, nowadays, I have a lot of pain on my legs. Ata kukanyaga chini ni shida. What could be the issue? But you've not told us your age. Kindly, as you write in, let us know how old you are so that we differentiate if it's an aging issue or it's something different.
Okay. To be clear, I'm not a medical doctor. And I've told, as we are discussing with Grace earlier, I said we need a geriatric person, which is the medical aspect of aging. So we've talked about geriatrics. We're talking about people who handle it from the medical side. And I think that's what she's asking. She wants someone to tell her about the aching on her foot as she walks. There are a number of things that I can think of. The arthritis, for instance, osteoarthritis, osteopenia, and those are things that affect joints. Osteoarthritis has to do with your joints, and as you get older, the joints wear out. Yes. And so the nerve starts kind of, when the bone starts, because the cartilages around the joints get worn off, and the bone starts rubbing, and so it's painful, right? And one of the factors for that is obesity. If you're overweight, that causes a lot of problems with your joints. And like today I was walking and I saw this lady in front of me and she was walking with a limp. And I almost told her, madam, if you work on that weight, maybe this would go. Because weight is a big problem. And diet and all that, things like alcohol and smoking and all that. So that, what she's thinking about might be some form of arthritis or osteoarthritis, if it's in the joint. So osteoporosis has to do with bones, and that is just different. Osteoporosis is a bone thing. But osteoarthritis, rheumatic arthritis is also, they're just joints and all that. So maybe the best thing is for her to see a doctor, and then she can be advised.
Okay. And Eric from Meru, thank you for watching us. Eric is asking, does physical aging have something to do with inheritance?
We talked about genetics earlier, and we said yes and no. You may have, Eric, you may have inherited the genes of longevity from your parents, or from your grandparents, or from your great-grandparents, and maybe that's what you're carrying with you now. So the way you age, that part of the genetic bit that I talked about, the cells, the intrinsic part of aging, will be influenced by things like that, to a point.
Yeah.
Because again, they interact with the environment. So you may have that gene of longevity, but your choices, your lifestyle, and what you expose yourself to may actually cut down the longevity you should have had because of the genetic inheritance that you got from your parents or from your great parents. That interaction there is important. So as I said again earlier, yes and no. It just depends. Yes.
Okay. Another viewer here, I'm not sure if it's related to what you're talking, but let me ask it. Viewer is asking, please, Daktari, help. I have Streptococcus bacteria resist drugs.
Streptococcus?
Yes. Bacteria resist drugs. What should they do? I'm not sure if it's related to all the...
Streptococcus has to do with the throat, isn't it? Streptococcus affects the throat or the membrane and something like that. I'm not so sure. Again, I'm not a medical doctor. So I think the best thing for this is a gentleman, right?
Yes.
He needs to see a doctor. Last time, is it called, what is his name again? Sorry.
They haven't given us their name, this one. Yeah.
Last time we talked about health literacy and just knowing what to ask for and who to go for. So, listener or viewer, look for a doctor that maybe you have not seen, so that you are getting a second and third opinion.
Yeah.
And so that you don't get stuck on one doctor. Look for other doctors, go to other places and talk to them. It's your body. Don't feel intimidated. In fact, even the doctor you have seen, tell them you're going to get a second opinion.
Yes.
And the third and the fourth, not a problem at all. If I'm poor, even Grace here can refer you to one of the doctors that she knows around. I can do that the same. So anyone can refer you to a good doctor, and then you sit down with them and let them check you again and again. You'll be fine. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So let's get to dementia, one of the conditions that really affects people who are aging.
Yes.
What is that, and how can people who are aging manage that condition called dementia?
I think the best thing for us to remember is dementia is not a specific disease. It's a class of diseases. The number one or the most common cause of dementia is Alzheimer's disease, because over 80% of dementia. So what I think about is that which affects the memory. And memory is complicated because we have got the short-term memory that is right here, that you're able to think quickly and do things. And then we've got the long-term memory, which is conscious and unconscious. Yeah. So there's the unconscious one that is way within the subconscious, but then we've got the conscious one that we can. And that's where we are able to have these two systems that we have in our lives. We have the intuitive system, and we've got the analytical system. Mostly the analytical system is in the recesses of our brain, because that one is where we throw in data and we are able to think through it. The best example I like giving people is if you're driving with your husband or with your friend and you're driving at 40 kilometers per hour, you're chatting and you're telling stories. 60 kilometers, you are okay. But have you ever noticed that you get to about 80 kilometers and the discussion slows down a bit? And when you're taking a corner,
yes.
If I was telling you something, I'll tell you, the other day I was trying to buy go to the other side, and then I was telling you I'm going to buy a cow. I will not talk at that time because now my brain is engaged on what we call an analytical system. It has to think, it has to calculate, and it is taking all the energy. It takes a lot of energy to be analytical. So there are those bits now that we need to think about. So we're talking about short-term memory. Yeah. What is your name? What is the food? Is this? Those things. But we also think about the things that we've learned, the episodes that we have gone through. That is long-term memory. And so you can sit here and say, the day you got married, that was an episode. So you know the date, you know the hour and everything. That's an experience. But there are also things that you've learned. You learned Kiswahili, you learned English, you learned to drive. That's again what you've learned. So all these things are stored in different parts of your brain. And aging, because of what it does with the cells, even the brain cells, those things are affected. Normal aging will affect them slowly. You are going to forget normally, I mean, just as a factor of aging. You're going to be slower in the way you respond to things, in the way you react, but not everyone. Yeah. If you used to play tennis very fast and you continued, you'll be good even at 80 years old. So they have said that actually that doesn't get affected. The psychomotor skills don't very much. But the other things that you're going to slow down on because of the normal aging of the brain cells. But then bring in Alzheimer's, which is a slow death of brain cells. Then you've got now a problem because it's a disease now that's coming. The funny thing is that there are things that are long-term that are never affected by, especially in the normal aging. The older experiences are never affected. You may forget people's names, you may forget where you left your car keys, but the older ones that are stored in the brain, as long as I was talking about the normal aging now, as long as the diseases are not coming, you'll be fine. But I have an experience of a lady who had dementia, and she could not even tell you her name. She could not even talk. But put her in front of a piano, and she'll play the whole hymn, the whole hymn book. Yeah. She would open, she used to play from her mind, and she would play the hymns, Christian hymns, throughout the afternoon. Okay. So that part of her brain was still intact, but everything else was blocked out. And so that's the thing. So the effect that we have, age affects our memories in different ways. But when the disease comes in, it also now accelerates how we start. Of course, if it's Alzheimer's or dementia, we start with forgetting small things, and then we go in, and all of a sudden you can't remember appointments, you can't remember what you promised, you can't remember appointments, you can't remember that, and so it progresses until to the end that sometimes we may not even remember who our family members are. Or if we don't remember the place, we walk through in a door and walk away, and we never remember how to come back home, things like that. Yeah. And so it's a progression. It's one of those things that is not reversible, so there's no treatment for it. We have to learn to manage it. And the challenge is the person going through that experience cannot manage it. There's got to be a caretaker or caregiver who now manages this person. And that's where attention needs to go, mostly, in this person who is managing the person who's got dementia. Okay. Yes. You've mentioned that, and I'm thinking now of this caregiver. What are some of the things that you need to watch out for to help you know your loved one who is aging has moved from Alzheimer's, which you've said is arranged, dementia is arranged, now has Alzheimer's? And again, let's clarify this. Dementia is a cluster. Yes. It's a general term. Yes. One of the major causes of dementia is Alzheimer's. Yes. But we say someone has got dementia generally. So the range is at the beginning, someone with dementia will have episodes of forgetfulness. Yes. And the episodes of maybe irritability at the beginning. And then this progresses all the way to the point where they don't remember themselves, they don't remember the places, they don't remember people and all that. And so what I was saying is, for this caregiver, and mostly because in Africa, in Kenya, we have family caregivers, live-in family caregivers. And that becomes a challenge a lot because, number one, they're not trained for any medical caregiving. They are not trained, and so they kind of move with the moment, so to speak, and because it's an obligation, they're taking care of the loved one. Now, the problem is, do they know what to look for? Do they know how to behave? Because one of the things that people with dementia have is they get very frustrated very fast. Because they're trying to communicate with you and you don't seem to be getting it.
Yeah.
And so they get frustrated and maybe they lose their temper or something like that, or they just shut up. They have problems with spaces. So it is the person outside who needs to be able to see this loved one, or my dad or my mom or my husband, he's falling a bit too much nowadays.
Okay.
And he's missing the steps albeit. And he keeps on repeating stories. And then you monitor that to start saying, hey, there's something wrong here. Because the person who's outside is the one who can observe all this. And if you got that, what I told you, the self-check, you can say, he does not even care to brush his teeth anymore. Or when he brushes his teeth, he forgets where the toothbrush is. Even when it's looking right there in front of him, he forgets where it is. And so you're able to work with this. The caregiver now needs to be able to learn the symptoms to look at. Okay. And they should not ignore any symptom. Because if you ignore any, they get worse. I'll give you an example with my own dad. There are things that my dad did that we should have known there's something happening. You'd wake up in the morning and clear the fence around the compound. And you wouldn't tell him anything because you'd say, it's my fence. Yeah. And you just, all of it, pluck it out, and all of a sudden the home is in the open. And then you bring workers and they would put pieces of wood all around the compound. Just cut kayapo, which is a live fence, which is very protective with thorns, and just put wooden planks all over that are going to be eaten by ant anyway within a few months. And they did, and they fell. And I went and asked him, these things fell. He says, so what? It's my compound. And so what we did is he put some more planks, and me and my sisters went and planted kayapo at the back because now he's older, he doesn't walk there very much, and we just planted and we hope they grow. So it's us outside here we can see that.
Identify.
But there is a challenge, Grace.
Yes.
The challenge is because in our languages, we do not have this spectrum of terms. You see, in English, we have depression, we have, anxiety, depression, anxiety, manic depression, schizophrenia, and all that. We have all that. But in our languages, do we have that spectrum? We don't. In Kimero, where I come from, I'm Mero, someone is either normal or mad, right? Anawazimu. Yes. In fact, the term we use in Kimero, ni Kiswahili is good, mwenda wazimu, which is a nice euphemistic way of saying it. But in Kimeru we say mtu wa nkoma, someone who is possessed by the devil or demons. So you can imagine how I felt when I went home. I'm driving home, and this drunkard guy stops me. He knows me, and he looks and says, "Oh, it's you. Your father has demons in Kimeru." And I'm looking at him and said, "No, he's not. He's sick."
He's sick.
No. He has mashetani. And so as I drive home, I go home, and I have to sit all over at home and tell them, this person is sick.
Okay.
He has no demons. It's just a mental sickness. It's not mental. It's the brain. The brain is having problems. And
so in short, what you're saying, Daktari, is we need to have awareness for people to know it's a medical issue and this person needs help.
Yes.
And the people outside being able to pick out the signs and symptoms and finding help.
Yes.
Okay.
But, Grace, I wish it was that easy. It's not. Because you've known this person for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And you knew this person as a good, organized, good person. And all of a sudden, it's become very crude.
Okay.
He's abusing you, he's telling you off, he's picking quarrels with you. You may know up here in your brain, factually, that this person is sick. Emotionally, that does not connect. So you get angry with them, you get depressed with them, you get tired with them, because what you know up here and what is in the heart, what is doing, you can't reconcile the two. That is a challenge. And that's the challenge every caregiver will go through. This person should know better. He knows I love him, but look at the way he's treating me. Even if you know that this person is not well.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll ask the sample a few questions before we wrap up the show. This one says, thank you for the healthy discussion tonight. My question is, in terms of symptoms, what is the difference between dementia and Alzheimer's? I think, Daktari, you focused a bit on that. And then the other question is, how early can it set in? How early can dementia set in?
Now, like I said earlier, dementia is not a specific disease. It's a general term that is used to describe all these things that may happen that may be affecting our memory. But one of the main causes of dementia, the most important actually, the main one is Alzheimer's disease. So I hope that is clear. So that when we talk about Alzheimer's, when we talk about dementia, we're talking about what is causing it. And we can say this is Alzheimer's that is causing it. And then Alzheimer's is that now the brain cells kind of dying, right? And it's a disease. This one is a disease, but there could be trauma. You could be hit on the head, that will cause dementia. You could be taking some drugs that will cause some form of dementia. But Alzheimer's is a disease that now kind of kills the cells.
Okay.
And then the other
How soon
question
does
was,
it set in? How early?
now that is the challenge. The challenge is this has been disease of the older people, 80 years and above, but it has come down. Even people at 40 years are presenting with the Alzheimer's. There are some tests that people are doing. There are some tests that they focus on an aspect of protein in the brain. I can't remember the name now. And once they discover there's that protein, then you start getting prepared for the onset of dementia.
Okay.
And it's not that it's going to stop it, but at least you know that it's going to come, and maybe you can start prolong it and slowing it out. It can be slowed down. If you catch it early, it can be slowed down, but you cannot reverse it. Once it gets started, it does not stop.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm not sure which term this one is, but let me ask. Somebody is asking if melasma, melasma, is caused by age. Melasma.
Melasma,
melasma. Melasma. melasma.
Melasma. I'm not so sure.
Okay.
That one I will have to pass. I'm not so sure about that. I'll find out.
Yes. Thank you. A viewer just asking us to tell that viewer with the streptococcus.
Yes.
Yes, please, you need to visit a doctor urgently, because if you delay, it can affect the heart. So please, dear viewer, tembelea kituo cha daktari.
Streptococcus is bad for the heart.
Yeah. Before we wrap up the program, Dr. Gatobu, I'd love you to address the caregivers, because how they can take care of themselves even as they take care of the aging parents, so as to avoid caretaker fatigue.
Yes, that is a very important question. Again, like I said earlier, because we do not have training as caregivers, especially when we're taking care of our loved ones, we do not have training. And the other thing that we need to remember is that the focus is usually on the person who is being taken care of. No one remembers that the caregiver needs attention also. And so what happens is that the caregiver, they get depressed because of the burden. And remember, caregiving for a loved one affects so many other things. It affects the time schedule of the caregiver, finances, family relationships, their own time. All these things come together and they become a very big burden to the caregiver. And I think that the thing is for the person to, or rather people around them, sometimes there's no one around. That becomes challenging in a kind of system in Kenya. But for them to be able to have people that can rally around them and work with them. And the church needs to remember, that's one of the best communities that actually should have them, or the small groups. If you have a loved one who is, or a member of your group who is caring for a sick person at home, rally behind that person, encourage that person, take turns to watch over him, get him counseled or her counseled, and then let the focus also be on the person to give them the social capital that they need to hold on, so that they know, as I walk this journey, there are other people around me. Because what happens is that this person gets depressed, this person does not know what to do, and they are not trained. They're dealing with a person who is sick. And what really happens, what I've seen happen is that both of you, the caregiver and the sick person, go down.
Yeah.
Your health goes down. I've seen that happen many times. If we had systems here where there's a good place where you can take your sick person and they're taken care of professionally, nicely, and you are able to see them anytime, you can spend time there without feeling like you have thrown away, I'm using our language, you have thrown away your loved one. That guilt needs to be cleaned out. Just realizing that there's a person, there is a group or there's an institution where they can take care of that person in a good way if you can afford it.
Yes.
Then you are able to spend days there with them. You can go after work, but you know they're going to be given medication, they're going to be massaged, they're going to be taken for a walk. The normal thing that we do is that we bring our loved one, if it's in Nairobi, we bring them to our house.
Yes.
So we are stressing the husband, the house girl, the children. But we will not show it because we are not supposed to show that we are stressing them. But deep inside, we are really hurting. And we can't show it. We can't show it because people will misunderstand us.
Okay.
So the whole thing is to understand that this is a journey, everyone can go through it, and to see how do we manage this. If there's a place that we can take this person to get professional help, fine. We ourselves also need to be able to be cancelled. Yes. We need to be able to go out and get attention because we are going to be depressed, and that is going to bring everyone down. Okay. It's what it is in Africa, that we tend to go down with everyone else. That's what happens, right? You save a little money, and your cousin doesn't have school fees. So the little money is pulled down again. So all of you pull each other. Everything is like, even sickness, it does the same. Okay. A sickness in the family brings everyone down. And that's something that I think as a society we need to start addressing. The whole thing about long-term care, nursing homes, we need to bring it here and make them affordable because they're very expensive. Make them affordable, yes.
I hear you. Yeah. We have to call it a day right there, Dr. Gatobu. What would be a parting shot? Just one, because I have less than a minute to go, to our viewers who are aged, how to live healthy so that they can have long life. I know we have already talked about caregivers, just in less than a minute.
What I think, addressing you, viewer who's getting older, remember, it's been a long journey to be where we are. I'm reaching there myself. Exercises are a good thing. Diet is a good thing. And just avoiding the things that we used to think we can do. The other main thing that we really need to remember is space, how we navigate space. Those of us at our age who are building houses now, we need to remember that those houses with many steps and all that, stairs, many steps, kitchen, going up, those are not very good as we get older because you're going to trip. You're going to wear glasses like I do, and you're going to miss steps. And when you fall, because your bones are brittle, you break your bones. So if you're building a house for retirement, make it flat, have wide corridors, because you never know whether you're going to use a cane or a wheelchair or anything else, and avoid very sharp corners, because again, if you have got glasses and your sight is not good, you're going to hit those corners and you're going to break something. Okay. So be very deliberate. There's a whole area called wayfinding or architecture for older adults that you can always explore. It's out there. You can always talk to architects. And if it's an area I've also studied. If you need to contact me, you can contact me through Grace, and we can talk about it. But being deliberate, knowing that you're not what you used to be, and knowing that there are things you need to avoid, sugars, processed food, eat well, do your exercises, take your supplements if you need to take them, and go for medical checkup. Okay. That is important. Men don't like going for men, I'm talking to you. We don't like going for medical checkup. Go for medical checkup, and listen to the doctor. Okay. And when you go there, have a conversation. Don't let the doctor tell you. Ask questions. Why am I feeling this? What should I do? Okay. And then you're able to take control of your life. Thank you very much, Grace.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sospita Gatobu, for being with us. I believe, my dear viewer, you have been enlightened in terms of aging in a healthy manner. If you have a parent who is aging, I now believe you're more informed, you're more educated, and you know how to take care of them or any loved one around you. And if you think you'll not age, maybe you think you're still young, you still have a long way to go before you get 65. Hey, age will catch up with you. Live in a healthy way, exercise, eat well, take care of your environment, so that when that time comes, for sure you'll age gracefully and in a healthy manner. It's been a joy ministering to you tonight on Health Check. My name is Grace Mutiso. Let's do this again next week on Tuesday, right here at Top TV. Look and live. Shalom and God bless.
Thank you. God bless you.